my name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Loved Knits. I create knitting and DIY content here and over on Instagram in the hopes to inspire you to make what you love. Today, I'm really excited to be sharing with you the behind the scenes making process of the latest sweater of mine. It's what I'm calling the cozy V-neck sweater. It's supposed to be a sister sweater to my pattern, the cozy mock neck sweater. My idea behind this sweater was to have something a little bit more oversized than the other pattern, and also to, of course, feature a nice V-neck because I've been really interested, or I've been really into the V-neck trend, especially in knitwear these days. So if you like knitting and DIY content, be sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoy it, and let's get started. So don't mind the pile of knits over there, but I just wanted to show you a sneak peek at my latest design, the cozy V-neck sweater. I'm knitting this in one panel, starting with the back panel. This is going to be the back panel here. I have my ribbing at the bottom, very similar to my cozy mock neck sweater. This is meant to be like a sister sweater, adding in a V-neck and also changing up a little bit the construction of the garment. And also the shape a little bit as well. So this is gonna feature a baggier fit than the cozy mock neck sweater, which is a little bit more fitted. And yeah, the oversized design with thicker ribbing. And again, stockinette stitch. Originally, I wanted to do some twisted rib. I'll insert some footage there. But I noticed that the stitches were just leaning to the left slightly, and that would not be ideal for picking up stitches and working them in the round for the sleeves like I did with the cozy mock neck sweater. And I really like that method, so I wanted to stick with it, which is why I went back to the drawing board and went with classic stockinette stitch, which, I mean, I love a lot of texture, but also there's just something about plain old stockinette stitch that's just so classic and perfect, and so I'm really excited with how this is going to turn out with the sweater. To knit this sweater, I am using Wool in the Gang Crazy Sexy Wool. I used it for my cozy mock neck sweater as well. I really love this yarn. It's not sponsored in any way, it's just something that I love working with. It's 100% wool, it's all natural fibers, 100% biodegradable. And also I'm using the Dusty Aubergine color, which I thought was really nice. And I'm not gonna lie, I caught it on sale, so I knew I had to have it. Like I mentioned, this is going to be a little bit more of an oversized fit, so I wanted to have plenty of skeins to work with. I think I purchased around 7 or 8 to be seen if the version I'm knitting is a size small like normal, or if I'm going to be making a size up or multiple sizes up. I'm not 100% sure with this mock-up now, but we will see.
You're rolling, baby.
Okay, so here I have my finished back panel. Before I move on any further, I just want to weave in my ends. So I'm just gonna do that really quick. And while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna explain to you what I'm thinking. I'm a size small in my patterns, in both of the patterns that I have available, both the cozy mock neck sweater, the sable sweater, and then also, actually I forgot, the classic V-neck vest, which may already be out when this video is released. So in all three of those patterns, I work with a size small. That's the preferred size for my body. And I'm a 27-inch waist and 34-inch bust. So what I'm gonna figure out now is how many stitches do I want to cast on each side, and I'll leave an opening for the neck, the back of the neck of the sweater. I'm gonna pick up stitches right there, and I'm gonna identify this first one as the V to pick up stitches. I have my yarn right here. I'm going to take this slip it like that. And to pick up a stitch, I just pull back through. Wait, but I need to go actually into this one. To shape the neckline in this method that I'm doing is we're going to be creating increases around the neck. So if you can envision in this blank space right here, as we go, the neck will slightly curve as we increase stitches, and then it will join both sides in the center. So to do this, we need to knit across the row until we have one stitch left on our needle. To shape the neckline, I'm going to make one right just before this new stitch. So I'm going to insert my needle up through my right needle from the front to the back, and lifting this up, I'm just doing this to make room for my left needle, and I'm gonna go from back to front and hook it like this. So that's how I prepare to make one right. Then I take my right needle and insert it from front to back, as if to knit, and then knit, and knit the last stitch. So we're going to continue to make stitches just before the last stitch so that we can make that nice curve V-neck shape on every knit row. So now we have one stitch left on our needles, and what we'll do is the same thing as before. Insert from back to front your left needle into that bar in between the two stitches. Insert your right needle as if to knit, and knit the stitch. So you've just added an extra stitch. And you can already tell, even after just doing only 2 increases, that there's a slight curve right here. So now on the left shoulder, I'm going to be working the increases a little bit differently. Instead, obviously, of working the increases at the last stitch, I'm going to be working it at the second. So I need to knit the first stitch. So we're doing basically opposite of what we did on the right side. Instead of knitting until the last stitch and then making an increase, we're going to knit one stitch and make an increase. And instead of doing make one right, we're going to make one left so that the increase leans to the right side. Knit the first stitch, and then you make one left. And to make one left, what you do is you take your right needle, you insert it from back to front between the bar of the 2 stitches, and then you take your left needle and insert it underneath that looped stitch to the front of the right needle. So let me make sure I'm not getting anything caught here. And then you take your working yarn and wrap it around your right needle. And essentially you're knitting, you're doing a knit stitch, you're just increasing, and you pull back through. And you continue down the row. So continue doing that. And I'll check back in with you when we are going to combine both sides together to make the joined V-neck and finish the front panel. Now we need to take the stitches from what side is that? The right side. We need to slip them back onto the needle. And to do that, I'm just gonna pull out the string as I slip them over. Because then we're gonna start in the right outer right corner. Or outer left corner, right side facing. I'm going to take a strand of yarn and also my darning needle. Thread that in. Right, so what we're doing is we're going to be focusing on bringing these two panels together. So I need to secure my yarn right here. Let me secure it by putting it in like that. And I'm going to use quite a bit of yarn, so I'm going to make sure I have enough. Then I'm going to come in on the other side and secure it that way. And then I'm going to identify the V shapes along the side, you see? So from here down, and also on the other side as well. To identify the bar that's in between the V shape and pull through. Let's see if I can do that quickly on this side too. So then there's the bar right here, see it? Now that I've sewn up both of the sides, I'm ready to do my V-neck collar. And to do that, I have my size 12mm needles, 2 stitch markers, and then also of course, the yarn that I'm going to be using to knit the collar. So first what I want to do is I want to mark out my points. So I want to mark out the very centermost point of the V-neck, and then also I want to mark the center back as well. So that's where I'm going to be starting in the round. Once we have picked up stitches all along the neckline, do a double check to make sure that you have an even number of stitches, because for this particular case, we're going to be working in 1 by 1 rib. So I have my stitch marker here that marks the new round, and I'm going to go ahead and knit to the first stitch before my stitch marker at the V-neck point. Okay, so once you get to 1 stitch just before your center stitch, what we need to do is slip both stitches as if to knit onto the right needle. Whew. Slip 2 stitches as if to knit, then take your next stitch and knit that stitch. Then taking both stitches that you've worked, and it's going to be a little stiff because I'm working with thick wool, slip them over and off the needle. Now you just have that 1 stitch there. Is I'm going to pick up stitches along the armhole opening, and for the sleeves I find this is the same for my cozy mock neck sweater as well. I find that it's with chunky yarn nice to pick up 2 stitches, skip 1, pick up 2 stitches, skip 1, and repeat that pattern all the way around to get a nice even distribution of stitches so that you don't have like a really crowded sleeve or a really stretched out sleeve. I think that's the perfect medium. So I've got to a length of the sleeve that I'm very happy with. And now I'm gonna make decreases along the sleeve to start forming the cuff. And to do this, I'm going to make decreases by knitting 2 together. Hold on, let me make sure my stitch marker is not in the way. Going to start by knitting 2 together and knit 1 and knit 2 together. And I'm going to continue in this pattern all the way around until I reach my stitch marker again. And then I'm going to switch my needles to 12mm needles to match the ribbing around the neckline and also on the bottom. And then we'll be done with our sleeve. Okay, I really love this sweater. I'm really happy with how the sweater turned out, especially like how oversized it is. So I think I ordered 8 or 9 skeins, and I think I only have 1 skein left. The sleeves on their own took 1 skein each, basically. There was just a little bit left over. I love just how big the body is as well. I have so much room to just... Also, I think it's also really cute too. So this is something that's really comfortable, but then it's also, it looks kind of stylish, I think, or it looks a little bit nicer than your average sweatshirt, but it's just as comfortable. I've liked purple. I like purple, but I've never really like gravitated towards it in terms of like some kind of clothing item, but I don't think I've ever really bought anything that's purple, but I really love this color. I think the only downside is that 100% wool, 100% chunky wool is very expensive, so it would be a very costly sweater. Like I said, I did get this 30% off, so that was definitely an incentive for me to make this sweater. Otherwise, it would have just been a dream to make, and I would have never gotten around to it because, you know, again, very expensive. I don't have a lot of money to just be throwing out at wool. I have a lot of yarn already. But you know, I can't resist a sale. But by the way, if you do really love V-neck sweaters, I do have a new pattern that has just been released today. The day that this video goes out, a new pattern has been released on Well Loved Knits. It's called the Classic V-neck Vest. It is a lightweight, slouchy, deep V vest that I think you guys would really enjoy as well. So be sure to click the link below to check out my Etsy shop and also my Instagram, where you'll get more knitting and DIY content from me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing the behind the scenes process. And if you do enjoy knitting and DIY content as much as I do, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.